It is the World Press Freedom Day, 3rd May 2021. Tonight I am privileged to be among the people invited to participate on this special occasion where we are trying to see information as a public good as the theme tonight. Who knows if there are a number of journalists expected tonight to be recognized for the outstanding work they've been doing. We are struggling in the world of political flakes that are, of course, affecting journalists all over the world. Their wars, their sacrifices, there are a lot of extraordinary traits being employed by journalists to make sure that information reaches the world. They are the pillar of the world. They're the eyes for the society. They're willing to do and take extra miles to have stories covered. So tonight, let us celebrate with the journalists. My name is Chivumbi Agnes Benjamin, HICGI.
The country representative of the United Nations Office of the High Commission for Human Rights in Uganda, the president of the Uganda Journalists Association, distinguished representatives from the government ministries, agencies, and departments, representatives from the private sector, civil society, the Youth Coalition for SDGs, of course the media, Mr. Day, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. On behalf of the Uganda Journalists Commission, the United Nations Office of the High Commission for Human Rights, and the Youth Coalition for SDGs, who have been recently undertaking trainings with journalists across the countries, and whose collaboration is being reflected in today's integrated cross-generational public dialogue on information as a public good. It is my hope that we will soon witness the formal appointment of a new chairperson for the Uganda Human Rights Commission so that it can resume its full functions at national and international levels. So ladies and gentlemen, a word about why is freedom of the press important. World Press Freedom Day was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in December 1993, following a recommendation from UNESCO's General Conference. The suggestion to establish World Press Freedom Day on an annual basis on the 3rd of May was made by journalists at UNCOP, as mentioned before. Today, we commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Windhoek Declaration for the development of a free, independent, and pluralistic African press. Despite the dramatic changes in the media over the past 3 decades, this declaration's urgent call for press freedom and free access to information is as relevant as ever. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has given way to a misinformation pandemic. And this has raised further the importance of press freedom. According to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in his Press Freedom Day message, he notes as follows: the global challenges we have faced during the COVID-19 pandemic underline the critical role of reliable, verified, and universally accessible information in saving lives and building strong and resilient societies. He also notes that during the pandemic and in other crises, including the climate emergency, journalists and media workers help us navigate a fast-changing and often overwhelming landscape of information while addressing dangerous inaccuracies and falsehoods. Free and independent journalism is our greatest ally in combating misinformation and disinformation. I urge all governments to do everything in their power to support a free, independent, and diverse media. End of quote. At this time, when countries around the world, including Uganda, are focused on socioeconomic transformation, renewable energy, as well as peace and security, freedom of the press must be recognized for its vital role in informing citizens about public affairs, monitoring the actions of government at all levels, and ensuring a constructive social compact between citizens of the state on both their rights and responsibilities. Freedom of the press has a new dimension, resulting from the evolution of the media and technology. With the emergence of citizen journalism, we must also address the need to avoid misinformation, incitement, and hate speech in the name of We need to look into the financing streams for traditional and new media platforms to ensure that the freedom to convey the facts does not become subject to patronage. Without the free exchange of information, people cannot meaningfully participate in the positive transformation of their communities, their nations, and democracies. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an opportunity to remind the government of its duty to respect and uphold the right to freedom of expression as enshrined in Article 29 of Uganda's Constitution, which states everyone shall have the right to freedom of speech and expression, which shall include the press and other media. This is also enshrined in the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which underscores that freedom of expression and access to information are fundamental human rights guaranteed by Article 9 of the African Charter. And we can also find this enshrined in Article 19 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, as well as the Sustainable Development Goal 16, Target 10, which is to ensure public access to information and protect fundamental freedom in accordance with national and international legislation. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have an opportunity to remind ourselves that we have a shared responsibility to exercise our rights without infringing on the rights of others. We can agree that freedom of expression is the foundation of many other rights and gives both individuals and communities the right to articulate their opinion without retaliation, fear of retaliation, intimidation, censorship, or punishment. Now, before I conclude, a word on shared responsibility. The Global 2030 Agenda and its SDGs, they mark a paradigm shift towards a more transformative model of sustainable development, aiming to secure freedom from fear and freedom from want without discrimination. This means that the SDGs encompass a promise by all countries on earth to pursue a more peaceful, just, and inclusive society, which are free from fear and violence. Uganda is currently faced with the impact of COVID-19 on the social and economic situation of the most vulnerable, the impact of climate change on the frequency and scale of natural disasters, and the impact of rapid population growth on the need to improve participation of the youth in the economy. But it's also dealing with the impact of increasing incidents of excessive force and corruption on the population. We must promote peace, justice, and strong institutions if we are to encourage innovation, support development, and promote adherence to the standard operating procedures against COVID-19 by everyone. We need to enhance accountability, promote transparency, and develop a new code of citizenship. And we can begin by identifying positive cultural values and universal principles, promoting the concept of ownership. We need to empower people to seek accountability for the implementation of the SDGs as a collective responsibility. Dear media professionals and citizen journalists, you inform the public about the current affairs and you influence opinions on a daily basis at both national and global levels. You are the first-line stakeholders in bringing the SDGs to life, closer to the people, the Wananchi. So I invite you to use the SDG targets to interrogate national policies, strategies, and initiatives, to explore inefficiencies, accountabilities, and impact. This is a universal pathway to interrogate modalities of implementation, raise concerns about violations, and make suggestions on corrective actions. The SDGs give us an opportunity for government entities as well, those responsible for law and order, to review performance, identify constraints, and commit to make improvements. In this vein, I want to recognize good practice. I wish to recognize the District of Wakiso for being the first district in Uganda to issue a human rights report, which was done on 28 April this year. This is an important step to improve the relationship between citizens and the police by providing a framework for accountability and a discussion on performance, incidents, and solutions. I encourage other districts to emulate this good practice by Wakiso District, and I thank the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights for supporting this initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot conclude today without a moment of recognition. The World Press Freedom Day has its roots in both the SDGs, international law, universal values, and in Africa. I therefore call upon media owners, editors, citizens, and journalists to espouse the values of the Ubuntu, particularly Obumu, unity, Obuesimu, integrity, Wonderful, transparency, and Okufayo, empathy. These must be at the center of our efforts as we focus on eliminating poverty, facilitating good governance, sustaining peace, promoting prosperity, and protecting the planet we all call home. On behalf of the United Nations system, I wish to convey my profound regrets and my concerns to the media fraternity for all of you who have incurred incredible pain during the past year while carrying out your work. In particular, I want to recognize Ashraf Asiri, who was injured in the line of duty in December of 2020. I call on the government and media owners to work together to improve the welfare of journalists, to ensure their protection, and to support those affected by excessive use of force in the line of duty by creating a trust fund to cover health and other related expenses. No journalist should lose their life or their health while pursuing the public good. Accountability, reconciliation, and corrective action are key to rebuild trust and governance systems. There are still simmering tensions. There are still people looking for answers. There are others spreading misinformation, hate speech, and incitement. Intolerance and abuse are rising on social media platforms and spilling into our communities and our homes. We must not take the peace in Uganda for granted as we continue on the journey towards sustainable development. In this context, allow me to take this opportunity to recognize some of the journalists in Uganda who have played a significant role in contributing to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals and the universal values they represent. We have issued for you certificates of recognition to convey our gratitude for your sacrifice and for being an inspiration. I'm asking my colleague Michael, who's supposed to be around here somewhere, and my colleague, the country representative from OCHR, to please be ready to hand this over as I read the names out. The first journalist to be recognized, Mr. Gerald Envoy from New Zealand. A veteran environment journalist with a new vision and a mentor to young journalists.
And the way that you